This is an explanation of my project Faked Meat. Faked meat is a reaction to all the vegetarian options that you can find right now in the supermarket. So you have the aisle of real meat, and then next to it there's the plant-based meat section. So these are vegetarian options that are a copy of the real meat. But the issue here is that when you make a copy of the original, it always feels that the copy is an inferior thing because it's a copy. So you have a real juicy burger and then you have the soy burger. So it doesn't feel that you're eating the better choice, that you are actually having the better choice, because actually being a vegetarian is doing something really good for the world. So it should be a nicer option, something that is much more exciting, especially if you realize that these actual animals that provide the real deal had a really poor life. So I invented a couple of new animals, and the first one is called the ponti. The ponti is a rodent-like animal, and it lives in empty volcanoes. For example, in Hawaii there's a big population. This is a ponti chop, and the ponti nibbles on the ashes of the volcano, and therefore the meat of the ponti is slightly and delicately smoked. Also, it has a very firm tail, and it uses this tail to make burrow in these hard magma layers to make a little nest. And this super firm tail is a really good party snack, because you can just pick it up by the tail and nibble on it and then keep your hands clean. Another animal that is part of this, oh, and then here's some potinto, ponti mince, of course, which is smoked. And then there's the herbast. This is some herbast representation, and the herbast lives in the herbal fields in southern Albania, and because it has to make sure it doesn't get caught by predators, it has to sit still and be camouflaged with real herbs. So they're quite expensive because they're rather hard to find. But the good thing is that these herbs, so this is a herbast stir-fry chop, a couple of them actually. The herbs of the fur are already in the meat, so they're pre-seasoned, so you don't have to add seasoning. Another thing about this animal is that it's square shaped, which is really easy for transport, packaging, and at the table everybody gets an even share, so it's a very pacifist meat. And then there is the bikio, which is a vegetarian fish. And this fish, well, I have it here. This fish lives in the shallow waters of Japan, where it feeds itself with the seaweed that grows there. And the real connoisseur can see that because it has these beautiful green stripes. And these stripes also tell you that it has a very high level of antioxidants because it has been eating all this seaweed. And it's also aesthetically really beautiful. So it's very suitable, for example, for sushi and sashimi purposes. And the last animal is a bird. It's called the sapiku. And the sapiku lives in the maple trees of Canada, where it feeds itself on the sap of the trees. And because it eats all this juicy, sweet sap, the meat of this animal is really tender and sweet. So it's a dessert meat. So here's a sapiku wing, and it combines really well with ice cream and chocolate. And here's the sapiku fillet. So, bon appetit.